I'm Alex Dykes, and by viewer request, we're out here on a rainy morning taking a look at the 2015 Hyundai Sonata. This is a Graco Classic Ride 50 child seat. It is a convertible seat, meaning you can use it for forward or rearward facing installation. We're going to be seeing how well 1, 2, and 3 of them fit inside the Sonata, as well as how well they fit in the trunk. Let's start out with the rearward facing child seat test. The first step is right here in the front seat, and I do need to move this forward till I have about an inch of clearance between my knees and the front of the dashboard. That will maximize the amount of space we get in the rear for a child seat. Because of the overall shape of the Sonata and the dashboard, I can get an awful lot closer to the front of the car in this passenger seat than I could in some of those other options out there. That's important because when we move to the back and we're taking a look at this rearward facing child seat, we have more room between the front seat and this child seat than we do in some of the competition that has larger combined legroom figures. That's just due to the way the dashboard is shaped in the Sonata, allowing you to move that front seat more safely and more comfortably further forward than in the competition. Keep in mind this child seat is not actually strapped in, so it will move a little further rearward when it is firmly attached to the vehicle. That means that we would actually have almost 4 inches of room between this front seat and the child seat. You want at least 1 inch between the seat and the child seat, because in the event of a rear end style collision, you can have this front seat move a decent amount rearward. You don't want it to impact the child seat. When it comes to installing child seats in the forward facing position, you have to keep in mind that the Sonata has relatively bucket shaped rear bench seats. And that really plays a role when you take a look at this outboard seating position right here. This child seat is shifted a little bit towards the center, meaning that this center seat is not truly in the center of the rear bench seat. So if I were to actually sit on my side right over here on the driver's side, then it is a little bit close to me. I don't have quite as much shoulder room or as much hip room going on. In terms of child seat anchors, we have latch anchors for the outboard seating positions only, and we have top tether anchors for all 3 seating positions. However, the Sonata has a problem I've noticed in a few other vehicles out there. The top tether anchor is very close to the front of the seat. That means that if you have these larger belt buckles that these Graco Classic Ride 50 seats have, I'll show you one right here, and that'd be the distance from the anchor point on this top tether anchor to the end of the buckle. It means that this child seat cannot sit quite as firmly in the car as it could if it had a shorter buckle. I actually think this is more of a design flaw on the child seat itself, because there are a number of vehicles out there that have their top tether anchors this close, but a lot of child seats out there don't have anchors this long. That is important because try as hard as I could not get this top tether anchor to be as firm as it really should be. The child seat should move no more than ½ an inch if you pull on it very firmly from the front. When it comes to the 3 across child seat test, like many mid-size sedans, the Sonata does very well. Again, these outboard seating positions are very bucket shaped, and that means that it is a little bit difficult to fit the child seats across the back at first. You want to install the center child seat first and then install the outboard seats right next to it. They're going to press a little bit more on one another than you'll find in some of those other vehicles out there, but we still have adequate room on the side of the child seats. Right over here on this side of the child seat, we have about 2 inches of room for the side curtain airbag to deploy safely. When it comes to cargo capacity, the Sonata is very competitive in terms of actual numbers for its cargo capacity. But cargo capacity doesn't tell you everything about cargo practicality. What I mean is this is a 24-inch roller bag, and this is the largest size you can carry on a domestic flight. Like the Nissan Altima and some of the other entries in this mid-size sedan segment, you can put it in this position right here at the back of the trunk and still close the trunk lid. However, unlike some of those other entries, you can also rotate it 90 degrees and fit it in this position and still close the trunk lid. That makes this handier than the Nissan Altima and definitely handier than the vehicles in this segment that cannot accommodate a bag in this position. That's really noticeable when you take a look at a 26-inch roller bag right like this. Now obviously we can't put this in that same vertical position, but I can slide that completely behind this 24-inch roller bag, and I can actually stack 2 of them, one on top of the other, completely behind this 24-inch roller bag. I was able to put 3 of these across the back. Although it looks like you could fit 4, the trunk gets a little bit narrower right here on the edges, and we also have these release levers for the rear seat backs. I suspect this trunk will be very accommodating, so I've just gone ahead and stacked the 2 roller bags over there on that side, and let's see how well these child seats fit. With the first child seat, you'll notice we also have a very large opening, so we can put these child seats in sideways. You don't have to try and navigate them in a particular fashion, and they do go all the way to the back in that position. Thanks to the overall size of this trunk, even though these trunk hinges do take up some of the cargo room and they will hit your cargo if you do pile it a little bit too high, I have no problem fitting this kind of cargo into the Sonata. Again, this has been the 2015 Hyundai Sonata. Go ahead and click that subscribe banner at the bottom of your screen so you can be updated on all of my latest videos, including the complete review of the 2015 Hyundai Sonata Eco. You can find me over at facebook.com/AlexNautos, over at Twitter as AlexNautos, and you can always email your questions to alex@alexandautos.com. I'll see you next week.